Good evening, everybody. Let me introduce myself. My name is Calvin, and I felt it was my duty to make this video on the current state of affairs in America that has transpired since the murder of Mr. George Floyd. I, like a lot of Americans, especially the African American community, are hurt and disgusted by what we saw in that video. And it's not the problem that it happened to him, but it's the fact that it happens too often. The video won't be long. I just have a few points I want to put across to you. First, I want to say to those protesting, it is our right and our duty to peacefully protest and never let anybody else tell you otherwise, because if they do, they're being dishonest. But I also want to say to everybody who's rioting, destroying property, looting, and using this as an opportunity to self-enrich your personal self, you are a horrible person and you need to stop it. Don't tarnish Mr. Floyd's name and his legacy with this destruction. Use this tragedy as a platform to invoke change. Before I get to my second point, I want to use this as a call to action to those whose voices that, especially the Black American community, we listen to far too much, but a lot of times this is all we have. So I want to say to all the rappers, singers, entertainers, athletes, anybody who has a voice in the Black community, use this time and use your voice for good. Especially to all the rappers. If you can spew garbage about drug use and blowing money and fornication and doing all this other stuff to our community, you need to use your voice to tell people to stop rioting and destroying their own communities. Destroying these places will not solve anything, because you have to remember, these big companies have insurance. They will rebuild and they will come back bigger and better. And oftentimes that leads to gentrification. So after this, they're probably going to build these places up, build loft apartments in these places that are torn down, and they're going to move everybody out who's low income. So a lot of times it hurts way more than it helps. And we also have to remember that there are hardworking people, single mothers, fathers trying to make it. They work at these places too. The same places that you burn down, they work there. And somebody doesn't have a job to go to today. So calm down, peacefully protest. A lot of times these companies will rebuild, but the Black man's reputation will not be rebuilt because they already think that we're violent. Our reputation will be smeared by violence and destruction, which leads me to my final point and a solution that I think that'll help this situation. Financial protest. One of the most effective protests was the Montgomery Boys bus boycott in the civil rights movement. Black people stopped using the bus system. They walked, they kept their money in their pockets, and they bankrupted the bus system to the point where they had to change their policies. Because after all of that was said, people were like, okay, I'm not going to use your system. We're not going to stand for this. And they had to make a change. This can happen today. Unfortunately, in America, your dollar is louder than your voice, but your vote is your voice. So I propose, for as long as you can, everyone that is protesting, let's do some financial protest as well. Don't buy anything from these places as long as you possibly can. Stick them and hit them where it hurts, in their wallet. So please stay safe. Don't destroy anything. Use your mind and your wallet. And definitely that will start the conversation that will lead to real change. Because we all have a voice. And a lot of people are frustrated. What happened to that man is horrible. And what's crazy is that there have been a few more incidents that has happened since he got killed. People are still being profiled. People are still being discriminated against in America, and it has to stop. The police system works for us, not against us. So tax money pays them. And they will understand that when you do financial protest. So people need to understand that we're not fighting a war against the police, we're fighting a war against the system. America is a corporation. The police work for that corporation. They're going to protect the corporation before they protect the people. And that's the sad part about it. So be safe, use your voice, peacefully protest, and do not tarnish the name of Mr. George Floyd. Thank you all. I love everybody. Stay safe.